Hello designers! This is the third installment in my series about how to create patterns in Microsoft Word. I want to do a quick story about these papers. When I first started my Etsy shop, one of my favorite products to sell was scrapbooking paper, digital scrapbooking paper for sororities and fraternities. I knew from my own experience as a sorority girl that sorority girls like to make a lot of stuff. They make a lot of cards, they make a lot of gifts, collages, decoupages, all of it. Then one day, Big Great came along and said, you know, you need a license to sell those papers, right? That's all trademark material. The names, the arrangement of the Greek letters, the colors used with certain icons. And I was like, oh, okay. How do I get a license? And he said, you gotta give us this much money. And I said, well, the scrapbooking papers only make this much money. And they basically said, too bad, so sad. And so the papers went away. Until today, that is. I cannot give you the Greek fish, but I can teach you how to make the Greek fish. So I'm very excited about this project. We're gonna make two papers. One is with a name and an icon, and we're gonna make a very simple but very cool sheet of Greek letters. I have started my own sorority. All of you are free to join. There is no barrier to entry. It's called Chi Kappa Delta. Our colors are plum and turquoise, and our symbol is a penguin. So let's hop into Word and get started. All right, let's make a new document. And as I've said before, I am using the latest version of Microsoft Word for Mac. Things will be a little different if you have an older version or if you're in a PC, but I'll try to call out as much as I can where the differences are. You can always use your help to search for things, and also I just Google everything under the sun. So format. And I like to create everything with patterns. I do like to do a 12 by 12 square. That's standard for scrapbooking. You do not have to do this, or you can, most people don't have a printer. I don't even have a printer that prints 12 by 12, but here's my paper size. So I'm going to do 12, it's already in there, by 12. And then I'm going to hit OK because I find that I need to do my margins in a different place. I can do it here, I can hit layout and do it over here, but let's do 0 margins. Is it necessary? No. Does it give you a cleaner base? Ignore it. A cleaner base to design with? Yes. So the first thing we're going to do is insert text box, draw a text box. And we're going to make this pretty large. I'm going to go about half my page, so 6 inches. For some reason in Word, you can scale the pattern down, but not up. So you want to err on the side of too big. And let's type in my name, Chi Kappa Delta. And I appreciate them. I appreciate Word trying to keep me on the straight and narrow with the capitalization, but we don't need that. And let's go back to home and text size. Well, first, I'm going to use a font today that everybody should have in Microsoft Word. Sago, is it Sagu, like canoe? Sago script. When naming, and it's probably named after a person, but when naming things, you know, everybody should be specific. And I think we'll do a standard. Let's do 48. Yeah, that should work. And like I told you, my colors are plum. I have used this recently, but I will show you for more colors. Let me do this first. I'm going to go ahead and put my plum on, but when you want to use your colors, you can go in here. And this is a specific hex color that I had pasted in. Okay, now we gotta fix this box. Now I like to have, I'm gonna do shape format. I think it's shape styles in PC. And I like to have my format pane up. We're gonna need our format pane, and we're also gonna need this, our selection pane. This actually makes Word feel more like a design program, which is awesome. So I like to get those panes up as early as possible. Again, sometimes, and I have to do this all the time, you guys, I have to like search for where is this pane? Why can't I find it? I'm going over every button. So it takes some time. And we have our text box, but we're going to go back to format shape, and we're going to do not text options, but shape options. And I want this grid over here with the arrows and sort of these mini rulers. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to do middle alignment in my text box. It doesn't really change it. And now we're going to do all of these interior margins for the text box to 0. And more importantly, watch the text box. I'm going to unclick this wrap text. It just clings to it. It makes a nice clean box, which we need. And you can play with these handles, but I want this middle in the middle of my text. So I'm going to use my C as kind of a guide and my A, and that looks pretty good. I like that. So there's, look at this. I cannot stand this. If you watch my other videos, you know, it drives me crazy. I wish the default was no line, but it's not. So no line, and also no fill. Okay. So there's our first element. Now let's add our second element. In the second video, we did how to use pictures and patterns. So any image you might insert. I'm going to cheat today, and I'm going to show you something really cool about the new Microsoft Word, which is they have this icons, and you can get this, you can do insert from pictures, and you can do stock images, and they both come up stock images and icons. And today we're going to use icons. And so you might, your organization, if you're an owl or a bear, they might have what you were looking for already. And if not, you want to use an icon. Sometimes with the papers, I used to use flowers. You can color them for whatever your colors are. So there's lots of options. But as you know, Chi Kappa Delta is penguins. So we're going to search for penguins, and they have this adorable penguin that I'm going to click on, hit insert. Now, we did not have to do this with our text box, but whenever you're having trouble designing and using layout in Word, it normally has to do with where your text is. So I normally in front of text works because it's not, what it's telling this box to do is anchor with the text, stay in the corner where our cursor is, but we don't want that. We want it to move around. So put in front of text. Let's move this little guy over. He actually came in sized kind of right, because I want him a little taller and a little lower. So I think that's actually pretty good. If you wanted to move him, you could move him up and down like that, but I'm going to keep him where he is. And let's go, I'm going to use my format graphics pane again. You can also do it under graphics format. There's a lot of places to color. So let's do our second color, which of course plum and turquoise. So I have this lovely turquoise that I picked out already. I'm going to use my arrow keys just to tick him up just a little bit. And remember, this is visual because the handles for the text box, well, they are pretty close there. They may not always be the same, and that's okay. Now, we have to get our spacing down for the pattern we're about to create, and we're going to do this by clicking on your text box, copy, learn your shortcuts, copy, it's Command-C for Mac, Control-C for PC. And we're just going to use this to make our template. This looks pretty good. You want this space and this space to be equal. And I like that. I'm getting very lucky today. I'm not having to move things very often. And now the trick. So go back to insert, shape, just a plain old rectangle, and we're going to hit it right on the edge of this C. Don't worry too much about the height. And we're going to cut it off at this C. So this is going to be basically our pattern block. So click on that. We can go ahead and delete our second text box because we don't need it. And it took me to shape format. I am going to go to send backward, and I'm going to send this all the way to the back. And this is great. And the height is fine. If you wanted to, you could, drag it up or down, but I actually I'm feeling what you want to feel like. I'm going to use the penguin as a guide, that the air around here is the same. Now, here is the trick that it took me a second to learn in Microsoft Word, which is if you just did no fill, we could leave our shape there. And if we did no fill and no outline, it would make this, I'm going to show you an example. It makes this horrible line around your pattern block. So we don't want that. So how we're going to cheat this is I'm going to use white. So I'm gonna do over here, I'm gonna do white fill, solid fill, and solid line, just 1 point, the default, and I'm gonna do white. And now let's click on our selection pane. You can either, it's Shift for Mac, Control for PC. You can hold that down and grab these, click on them. We want all 3 elements selected, or you can also go over to your graphics and do the same thing. So now that we have these selected, let's go to shape format is where I am. Group, again, this is in a couple different places. So we're just gonna group those together and then edit, learn your shortcuts, cut. We're gonna cut that. So we've taken our pattern block and we've told Word, you hold on to this for a second. It's on the clipboard, they're gonna keep it. They'll keep one thing for us and they're gonna keep that block of items together while we come up to insert, shape, another rectangle. And I like to start over here so it doesn't interfere with my cursor on the other side. We want it to be a little wider than 12, and height doesn't really matter, so 1 inch is fine. Just, you can kind of eyeball it. It's okay for now. We're gonna change that. But what I do wanna do is go up to align. We're gonna use align so much, align center. The beauty, and I know I talked about this before, but the beauty of the align in all of these programs, even your Adobe programs didn't have this at the very beginning. So it is a wonderful thing. It makes your life so much easier, especially when you're making patterns and you want everything to be just specific to the math that it needs to be specific to. Okay, if that makes sense. I think it does. Now for the fun. Format, shape, not that it's not all fun. Format, shape. We're gonna go to picture under fill, no line. Picture or texture fill. So there you go. Oh, that's from before. So we're gonna hit our clipboard. See, so it'll pull in this one skewed pattern. Don't worry about it, because we're gonna go down here and do tile picture as texture. Oh my gosh, it's already so cute. Now this, I'm gonna change all these to 0 real quick so we can see what we're dealing with. Not these to 0, sorry, 100. 100, there we go. That does look a little large. I actually did like the 65 better, so I'm gonna go back and you will just play around with this and get it to the size you want. Is that too small? I don't think I need, I think I want more like 4 penguins. So I'm gonna go a little bit up. Let's try 70. Yeah, that, gosh, 75. This is what it is, people. It's like you just keep trying things. Okay. I am going to keep that like that. And what I'm going to do is drag my handle up. So see how it's so clean and we don't have that. And if you wanted to change the color, let's say I wanted to make this a lighter version of the turquoise, I would just color my box the turquoise and the stroke the turquoise, you know, whatever color you want, you just make your behind box that way. We're not going to use the page color like we will in the next paper. Okay, so let's copy and paste this. So I did copy and paste, or you can also hold down your Option key or your Control key and just click on it and drag it. Hold it down and drag it. Now we are going to go back to, is it shape format? Yes, we need our align button up. We're going to center these just to make sure they're good. And then what we're going to do is click on your second box, come back over with me to format, fill. We have all the picture fill done already. Now this is X and Y. I think I'm doing this right. Yes, X, Y. So I'll always go X, Y to figure out how we're going to move it. So we're going to move it across this way. So let's try our X, and we're just going to, you know, you can put a number in there to speed this up a little bit, but I'm just going to do the slower route. And what we're looking to do is put that second row of penguins right in the middle of our type and vice versa. So everything's sort of centered with each other. You could do a whole box of just this, but I don't think, to me, that just doesn't feel as advanced, as special. So now we're going to just take text box 1 and 2, You can copy and paste. I'm going to drag them. Try to get them, you want them a little close together just visually, but we're going to make them perfect after we get all of them done. And let's say you're like, this is taking too long. Go to your selection pane. I'm so sorry, PC people. I have not figured out, in Mac, you can hold Shift down and just select everything at once, but I believe in the PC, if you're holding Control down, you have to click all these one at a time. And if somebody knows different, you're my hero. Please post below. Okay, look at this. We are going to just drag this whole block down. There we go. And looks like we have room for, I'm going to say 3. Let's see if I'm right. Let's see if all those years of practice have, nope, that's wrong. I can't do 3 at a time because it doesn't make sense with my pattern. No, just 2. Okay, so take this bottom one and click on it, your bottom bar, if you will. And let's put it where we want it to be. You know, you want a little bit of space under the penguin feet at the bottom. And I think the top one looks okay. So now we're going to go ahead and select all of these again. Go up to shape format, align. The first thing we're going to do is align center, just to get all of our boxes in a row. That looks great. And the next one, are you ready for magic? Distribute vertically. So see how all the bars are there? They show you a little icon. Ta-da! Look at that. It's magic. It's Microsoft magic. Look at it. So beautiful. Okay, and so there is your paper. And obviously you can have so much fun with this. You can change out the icons. You can change out the colors. There's no limit to what you can do with this. I really, really love how this process works. Okay, that's paper number 1. Now, are you ready for paper number 2? Let's insert text box, draw a text box. I've got my little cross. Now, this can be a little loosey-goosey. I'm gonna make this, it doesn't really matter because our type is gonna determine how wide it is, but you want it a little longer than 12 inches. Now you can get the Greek symbols below. You can just paste that whole thing in like that. So I've pasted those in, and we are going to pick a very traditional font, which is Times New Roman, bold. Everyone should have that or some equivalent of it. And we're going to go 34 points. Now, I only need my 3 letters. I need my chi, so I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to paste it up top, and I need my kappa. I'm going to cut that and paste it up top, and I need my delta. I'm going to paste that up top, and then I'm going to get rid of all the other ones, except that didn't work. Okay. No. It's a process, right, people? Okay, so there's our letters. Now we're going to do the same thing we did with our text box last time. So let's pull up our format pane. Again, I think it's shape styles for PC users. And let's hit this under text options. It's this box. It looks like the text box we just drew. Let's do all 0 margins and unclick the wrap and shape. And there we go. It fits really snugly in there, which I love. And now I'm going to triple click that, or you can just highlight it, copy it, move your cursor to the end with your arrow key, and I'm going to return and paste. I only have to return and paste 1 time, and then I can just paste all of these in here. I'm just going to fill this up until we're at the bottom. I'll do an extra one because we're going to need it. And for this box, you want to grab those handles. When the arrows come up, it means, hey, you can grab on this and move it. So let's move it to the side a little bit. We'll give it a little room, but not too much. Because the reason I use 34 points on this is see how it just naturally just sort of fills this space. And now we're going to stop. We're going to hit design up here. And you want to find page color. And we're going to use the turquoise as my background. When you do the page color, this happened if you watch my first 2 tutorials. it adds sort of, where's our selection pane? Shape format, selection pane. It adds this phantom rectangle. It's just sort of part of Word keeping track of everything. But it's not going to affect our text box as long as we have our, and if you're having issues right now, try wrap text in front of text. Okay, so now go back to format shape and let's fix this box. That dreaded line, no line, fill, no fill. And now I'm going to click in here. I'm going to hit Command-All for Mac, Control-All for PC, select everything, and let's make this, I'm just going to go home because it's easier for me. Under text color, white. Gorgeous. It just looks a little, there we go. I ticked it up one just to move it over. And now let's copy and paste this one. And this time what we're actually going to do is move it with our arrow key. Let's just go up, and we want to split the difference so that this is centered and this is centered. And that looks pretty good to me. I gotta play around with it sometimes, but yeah, I'm liking that. And that's a pretty good space. Maybe I'll move it over just one. Oh, it looks so good. I love it. Now let's select both of those, and we're going to do the same thing, just the opposite direction. We're going to copy and paste, or you can drag and paste. And if you want to use your selection key too, you can do that. Oh, look, I'm off. Look what I did. Now I'm going to fix it later, but I'm going to move this up a little bit. You want to keep everything, you know, obviously the machine will correct everything for us, but it's best to try to hit it if you can. And look at that. Works perfectly. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So we have 10 bars. And we just want to make sure this space is pretty equal to this space. And it does. It looks okay. Now, the first thing we're going to do is click on every other one, sort of the bars that have the same placement of the text. Oh, you know what we need to do? I'm sorry, you guys. I should have done this before. We're going to need to pull, we can pull them all out at the same time. Just make sure it's pulled all the way to the bottom. If they're all selected together, you can drag that handle down. So that's good. And align. We are going to align these center. Nope, that's not it. Sorry. Align middle and center. So you can see they have the line going through the vertical bars. So we're going to align middle on those, and let's do the same thing for our second set. So 5 and 5, align middle just to get everything. And now let's make them perfectly spaced vertically. So we're going to click on all these and align, distribute horizontally. It's the vertical bars distributing this horizontal way. Even I, after all these years, still get hung up, tricked out, and that looks so good. That's it. Thank you so much for coming to design with me. I love doing this. Let me know what else you want to see. There are links to 104 things below where you can find me. You can join the email list. You can join the Facebook group. You can download these papers so that you can bring them up and drive them around yourself, see how they work. And I think that's it. Like this if you like it, and subscribe. I've got new stuff coming all the time for beginning designers and people that might want to dip their toe into the graphic design world. So I really, really appreciate you being here. I'm Christy Kelly. Thank you so much for watching.